Have you ever wondered how the ancient Sumerians, one of the oldest civilizations, practiced their religion and governance? Let's travel back in time to the dawn of Sumerian theocracy. Before the concept of kingship emerged, the city-states of Sumer were under the rule of theocratic priests and religious officials. They were not just spiritual guides, but also the ones who held the reins of power. The temples, their abode, were more than just places of worship. They were the beating heart of each city-state, where decisions were made, laws were passed, and the course of society was charted. As the society evolved, so did the hierarchy, with kings eventually taking the helm. However, the influence of the priests did not wane. They continued to hold significant sway over the societal affairs, shaping the ethos of the Sumerian civilization. So, in the early days of the Sumerian civilization, priests were the de facto rulers, setting the stage for a society deeply intertwined with religion. As the Sumerian civilization progressed, so did their architectural prowess, particularly in the realm of religious buildings. In the early days, Sumerian temples were straightforward affairs, modest, one-room structures, sometimes elevated on platforms for prominence. These temples were the epicenters of religious and societal life, where theocratic priests held sway and the people came to worship. As time moved forward, these temples began to evolve, mirroring the increasing complexity of Sumerian society and religion. They transformed into magnificent ziggurats, towering pyramidal structures that reached towards the heavens. These ziggurats were more than mere buildings. They were symbolic bridges connecting the earthly realm with the divine. At the very top of these architectural marvels sat the sanctuaries, sacred spaces reserved for the most holy of rites and the dwelling places of the gods themselves. These grand ziggurats, with their sanctuaries at the top, stood as testament to the Sumerians' reverence for their deities and their architectural ingenuity. The Sumerians had a rich and complex pantheon, with deities representing various aspects of the natural world and human experience. Central to their mythology was the creation of the universe through a series of cosmic births. The primeval waters, Namu, gave birth to Ki, the earth, and An, the sky. These two then got a son, Enlil, who separated heaven from earth, claiming the latter as his domain. Humans, according to this belief system, were the creation of Anki or Enki, the offspring of the sky and the earth. The pantheon was not rigid but fluid, changing with time and location. Renowned scholar Samuel Noah Kramer's 1963 work suggested that An, Enlil, and Enki were the most significant deities. However, more recent research indicates that sometimes Enlil, Inanna, and Enki were considered the most important. Inanna, for instance, was the central deity in Uruk and other political centers during the Uruk period. In Sumerian religion, the 7 gods who decree were An, Enlil, Enki, Ninhursag, Nanna, Utu, and Inanna. These deities were often associated with celestial bodies. Inanna was believed to represent the planet Venus, Utu the sun, and Nanna the moon. Interestingly, minor deities too were sometimes associated with planets. For instance, Mars was sometimes referred to as Simut, and Ninsiana, distinct from Inanna, was another Venus deity. The intricate cosmology of the Sumerians reflected their understanding of the world around them, and these deities played integral roles in their daily lives and societal functions. The Sumerians held strong beliefs about death and the afterlife, which were reflected in their burial practices. The concept of the afterlife was not one of joy and eternal bliss, but rather a bleak existence in a dark underworld, known as Ikala. This grey world, devoid of sunlight, was presided over by the goddess Ereshkigal, where the souls of the deceased were believed to sit listlessly, eating dust and drinking from puddles. In this somber realm, souls longed for the sun and the life they once knew, and improper burial practices were thought to enable them to escape and return to the world of the living. This fear of the dead returning was a persistent concern, which influenced the meticulous care taken in funerary rituals and burial practices. The Sumerians avoided cremation for a very specific reason. They believed that if the body was destroyed by fire, it would no longer exist in the afterlife and would simply disappear. The smoke from the cremation, they feared, could also lead the soul back to the gods, instead of to Irkala. Therefore, burials were conducted with utmost care and precision. The aim was not only to honor the dead and send them respectfully onto the next world, but to ensure that the soul of the deceased would go where it belonged, to Irkala, and crucially, have no legal reason to return. These practices and beliefs about life after death deeply influenced Sumerian society, shaping their rituals and practices. Subscribe for more videos from the annals of history.